into weapons.
What's going on, guys? Apathettic here with all your tips, recommendations, and everything in between to make sure you guys are set up for success in the Crucible. And today we are talking about my Devour Juggernaut build that I've been using in the Crucible. So first part of this is I'm going to go over the armor and weapons that I use to kind of construct this build and of course the subclass, and then I'm going to cover the benefits that you will see in your gameplay using this build. Let's get into it. Starting with the armor, you are starting with Nezaric's Sin. So void kills increase ability regen. So we're going to get into how this synergizes with your weapons, but essentially we're going to be wanting to use some kind of void weapon that's going to increase our ability regen. Moving on just quickly through the rest of the armor, you'll notice everything has a discipline mod on it, and that's going to give us tier 10 discipline. So at the very least, even if we're not killing anybody with this build, our grenade will be back in 32 seconds, which is pretty awesome. Moving on to our chest piece, we have Breach Refractor. So grants grenade energy on final blows with shield piercing weapons, or when a member of your fire team shuts down the barrier. Obviously that doesn't apply to PvP. So this will allow us, when using a shield piercing weapon, to get even more grenade energy. So pairing that with Nezaric's Sin, we already have pretty good potential with our tier 10 discipline to have just always have our grenade. And what we're going to want to pair with this is our bottom tree Voidwalker or Attunement of Hunger. What we want to be using with Attunement of Hunger is Feed the Void. Consume your grenade energy to regenerate your health and grants the Devour effect. And what Devour is kills with this regenerates your health. So when we use this, it'll give us our health right back. And then upon additional kills, it gives us our health back each time and gives us full health. It's not like a small chunk like some other subclasses. It's you go right back to full, which pairs nicely with Insatiable. While the Devour effect is active, killing enemies extends its duration and recharges your grenade. So far we have Nezaric's Sin giving us grenade energy upon void kills. We have Breach Refractor giving us grenade energy upon armor piercing weapon kills. And then we have tier 10 discipline, which during all this is just going to be passively getting our grenade energy back as quickly as possible. And of course you have Vortex, which is a super, which we're not going to talk about because I don't really like it. But moving on, I am using my Better Devils with Hitmark HCS, Accurized Rounds Outlaw, and Kill Clip with the Range Masterwork. So pretty great roll here. And I put an anti-barrier hand cannon mod on it, which gives it shield piercing rounds, which ties directly into Breach Refractor. So getting primary kills is going to give me a little bit of extra grenade energy to make sure that, again, I'm just getting that grenade energy back as quickly as possible. Now we get into our Retold Tail that I'm using, so you could use honestly any void weapon here. If you really want to have no self-respect and use a recluse and just go absolutely crazy, you could do that and put an anti-barrier round on this, which would be just disturbing. But I chose to take the high road and use my Retold Tail with rifled barrel, light mag, quick draw, and slide shot. And because it's void, this is going to trigger our Nezaric's Sin, so giving us even more grenade energy as we're getting kills with both of these weapons. One feeding Breach Refractor, one feeding Nezaric's Sin. And of course, if we have Devour active while using either one of these, that's just going to stack on top of that. You could see very easily how we're going to always just have our grenade energy, which is going to always allow us to be able to regenerate our health back to full as quickly as possible. And lastly, I have Hammerhead, another void weapon. You can also use any void heavy for this. I don't even use heavy that much anymore, just because of how infrequently it spawns, which I'm okay with. But that's the build right here, guys. It's all about creating this cyclical, feeding of your energy, your grenade energy. And what's nice about this build, and I'll talk about this in a little bit, is I don't have to worry as much about my recovery, which is still decent because I'm always just gonna be consuming my grenade constantly, getting me back to full health. And so this allows me a little bit more flexibility with my armor. I don't have to focus so much on recovery and getting armor with recovery, even though it's what I kind of have. Because of this discipline mod, these discipline mods and everything I've mentioned, I can get that health back as quickly as possible. So we're gonna go ahead and transition into the benefits of this build and some clips and what you can expect to see in game. Jumping into the benefits of this Devour build, the first thing is there is less of a need to disengage. And this is something I've talked about in the past with transversive steps, and a huge reason why I like that exotic. So what I mean by not needing to disengage is because of the fact that we will almost always be able to have Devour. This means we are more often than not, we will be full health and be able to quickly regain our health, which means we focus more on staying engaged with our enemies, whether that's holding heavy or keeping your enemy off a point, because normally after an engagement or two, or maybe we've been caught off guard and taken some damage, we need to disengage and wait till our health comes back before we can re-engage our opponent. And during this time is we can lose a point that we were trying to defend, or it gives our enemy time to lock down a more advantageous point on the map. And this also highlights how this build, we don't need to worry about recovery. And I said this in the beginning, other classes are almost forced to use a ton of recovery mods. With this build, we can focus solely on those discipline mods and maybe put our armor for intellect or mobility and not worry so much about the recovery stat, because Devour and its ability to bring our health back is going to be better than any recovery stat out there. Moving on to the second benefit of Devour, and that's the ability to bait enemies into being overly aggressive. It's very common practice that when you're in an engagement and you're able to get your enemy weak, that's when you should push in to finish the kill. And with weapons or armor in this case like OEM and Recluse, that aggressive playstyle has become even more prevalent. With Devour, we can use our enemies' aggressive tendencies against them and take what would normally be a smart play and make it a dumb play. Once we are damaged, we can step away or break line of sight, even if it's only for a moment, consume our grenade, pop Devour, get our health back, and now when our enemy is turning the corner, they will immediately be thrown off when you are full health, charging right back at them. This may seem like a simple and obvious benefit, but with Devour, it really allows us to turn the tide of a fight, because your enemy will be engaging you as someone who is weak, which means in their mind, they're expecting you to die after a certain amount of shots. And when that doesn't happen, because we've gotten our health back, it immediately throws them off and we are free to be as aggressive as we like. The third benefit of this Devour build is it allows us to survive impossible scenarios. Because of this build, I've been able to survive 2 people pushing me simultaneously with Recluse. Name another build that taking that scenario head on would survive. There isn't one. I know right now there's this weird hunter build with arc battery where you can dodge, get your health back and get an overshield, but even that build wouldn't be able to survive that scenario. This build, because of how fast we regain our grenade and Devour gives all our health back instantly, allows us to survive situations where you're in a 1v3 where you have 2 people pushing you at the same time, and you can make incredible plays. And half the time when you're being double teamed, the enemy will occasionally stop looking in your direction. I've literally been in a 1v3, I killed 2 guys and the third guy wasn't even looking because he just assumed that I was going to die. It's honestly crazy some of the things I've been able to pull off using this build, and I'm sure you guys are seeing some of those clips right now. If you can combine Devour with good movement and sliding and solid aim, you will be very hard to take down. The final benefit of this Devour build is how it has a snowball effect that rewards aggressive plays and great gun skill. What I mean by that is because we have Nezarec Sin, Breach Refractor, and Insatiable on top of having max discipline, means at the very most it will take 30 seconds to get our grenade back, and sometimes we can get it as quickly as 10 seconds. But the more aggressive we can be, the faster we will have our grenade and have Devour running as much as possible, and we will essentially become this unkillable juggernaut, because if I'm not regaining my health from kills, then I'm consuming my grenade to shoot me right back up to full health. Then as I'm getting kills with my primary, that's feeding my grenade energy. If I kill someone with my retold tail, that feeds my grenade energy. So everything is just feeding into my grenade, which directly feeds into my health. And that's where as you keep slaying with this build, you'll be so hard to kill. As long as you're playing aggressive and smart, and your enemies will never be able to know if once they get you weak that you're not gonna just turn back around that corner and be full health in an instant. So with that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this build. And if you give it a try, let me know in the comments what you think of it, how you're enjoying it. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, as that's a free way to support me. And I will catch you guys in the next one.